Hello everyone and welcome to another casual review. Today we are talking about Metroid Zero Mission. I, like everybody else, is so excited for the new upcoming Metroid game, Metroid Dread, and I, just like everybody else, wanted to play all of the 2D Metroid games that came before this one. Unfortunately, I, like everybody else, did not have proper means in order to play some of these older titles that are not on the Nintendo Switch for some reason, and so I had to take a little more drastic of measures. So obviously I am a very staunch handheld gamer. I want to say about 95% of my gaming is done on handheld, so certain forms of gaming weren't really up my forte, such as emulation. I did have to maybe find a different kind of not authentic cart of this Metroid Zero Mission. One might even call it a reproduction cart, but I can neither confirm nor deny I was able to get my hands on one of these. My channel's small enough that Nintendo doesn't really care though, so whatever. Let's just be straightforward. I did play on a reproduction cart, and well, I was a little nervous because I've heard some stories about these carts, one being that it does not properly hold a save file. Just for my own personal experience from this one game, I can say that my game, it ran like a 100% authentic cart would. I never had any trouble with my save file, no game crashes or anything like that. I know that not every reproduction cart is made by the same creator, but as far as this one goes, it worked just fine, and it's not like I'm planning on reselling these or anything. So if Nintendo doesn't want to offer me a authentic way to purchase their games, then I don't see any problem with going through this channel, going through this method. So I'm really excited for Metroid. The only other 2D Metroid game that I've ever beaten was Metroid Samus Returns, and that was on the 3DS, and I had an absolute blast with it. I knew that Metroid was right up my alley. Other than that, though, I've never really beaten Super Metroid, just dabbled in it a little bit, and I've certainly never played these Gameboy Advance games, so I'm just going in chronological order. Metroid Zero Mission is a remake, a recreation of some degree of the original Metroid, and I knew that this was the pathway to go because there were some quality of life changes implemented here. I've never played the original Metroid. I can't tell you one for one what they have remade, what they have changed. I just know that I've just heard from lots of people that if you are going to play through the 2D Metroid games in chronological order, Zero Mission is definitely the way to go, and having now rolled the credits on it, I can wholeheartedly agree. Even 3D Metroid games, I've never played any of the Metroid Prime games, unless you count Metroid Prime Federation Force, and if you are curious about my thoughts on that game, I have a casual review put up about a year ago. So the story of Metroid Zero Mission is Samus, our favorite awesome female bounty hunter, is tasked with destroying all the Metroids and the mother brain on the planet Zebes. As far as the story and the plot goes, the Metroid games are very minimalistic in that aspect. I honestly don't think that I need to play through all of the 2D Metroid games before Metroid Dread, and I'm not even sure if I will be able to because I'm kind of running out of time here, and I only just beat the first one, but I don't think it's necessary because you don't get a lot of story information. Most of that is through external sources. Like after you play through Metroid Zero Mission, you might want to look online and see what all the lore is related, because it's just like bits and pieces, and you kind of have to piece together Samus's story in your own mind. I know that there's like a whole comic book featuring more of Samus's past, and so maybe, like I said, just external sources are probably your best bet if you're mainly playing through these games just for the lore, so you're caught up with Metroid Dread. I really don't think it's necessary, however. You could probably just start with Metroid Dread. It's just the classic Metroid formula that we have all come to know and love. I absolutely love playing through Metroidvanias. I have played through another one that I probably won't put the casual review up until I'm done with my Metroid marathon, but I just absolutely love the whole platforming, 2D exploring. You're constantly upgrading your character, you're constantly uncovering more areas of the map, and you are just growing as a person and really gaining a mastery of the game. And this game is like the OG, you know, aside from maybe Castlevania, but this is just like the classic. You're going around and you're always constantly getting upgrades. I feel like Metroid games, from what I remember from Samus Returns, it just throws upgrades at you. You are constantly unlocking new stuff, and it's just really always exciting. And when you get these upgrades, you, in the back of your head, you get really excited because you're like, oh, now I can go into this new area of this map. And it's just dopamine hit after dopamine hit, and they hit really close together. It's not like you have to play for hours before you hit the next upgrade. In this game, it is fairly short, so I feel like you are getting upgrades at least 5 to 10 minutes, as long as you're just not aimlessly wandering, which you totally can do. It might even be in your benefit because there are a lot of things hidden in the walls, like upgrades to your super missile inventory, for instance, or maybe you'll get lucky and find some energy tanks to increase your life. Lots of other fun things to find as well. There is an ancient alien civilization in Metroid known as the Chozo. They kind of look like maybe humanistic birds, but you only really see their statues because this alien civilization is long gone, but their relics are still left behind, and this is how Samus gets most of her upgrades. So it's exciting when you see one of these statues because it usually means an upgrade, and I feel like this was implemented in Zero Mission. It does have a waypoint to point you in the general direction that you do want to go in order to progress the game further, whereas I feel like the original Metroid did not have these waypoints. So it's just something to kind of keep you on the right track, which I really appreciate. You can also uncover map rooms, which uncover a whole area of the map for you, which is always nice. And of course, this is a older game and it is a Metroidvania, so there are save rooms. You can't just save anywhere on the fly. It takes me back to my olden days of my mom telling me to get off my Game Boy. I have to frantically find a save room because I can't save otherwise, and I would hate to lose all that progress. So it wasn't too much of a problem because it seemed like I always had a save room near me. The only time that it would suck is when I accidentally stumbled across a difficult boss and I hadn't found the save room that was right next to it. As far as the whole map design goes, I felt like it was really clever, it was easy to read, and I just felt like the whole world building was also really intuitive because it would put you in a situation as you're wandering, and there's no way to backtrack, and you're just kind of getting confused, frustrated, and then it's kind of like the game's way of telling you, like, no, don't leave this area yet. You haven't gotten your upgrade that you wanted to get in this area. You're gonna want your bomb, for instance, before you leave this area. So a certain block that can only be destroyed by a bomb will be impeding your progress backwards until you get the bomb, and then you can work your way backwards. And it was just so smartly designed because I feel like the room after you get an upgrade would always show off the new upgrade that you got, for instance. Like, okay, now you got this shot that can go through walls, and then in the next room you just happen to come across an enemy that's on the other side of a wall that you can try out your new upgrade. It's just so smartly designed. The controls definitely took some getting used to, just because Samus can only aim in normally like 4 directions because you're playing with a D-pad, not a control stick, and then you can aim diagonally, but you have to hold the left shoulder button in order to get those diagonals. I know that Metroid is traditionally played with a D-pad. Samus Returns is like the first game that introduced a circle pad control, so you kind of have to get used to only being able to aim in 8 directions, but once you get the hang of it, it's really not that bad. I didn't even have too much difficulty aside from a few exceptions, a few difficult bosses. The most frustrating boss in this game would absolutely be Mother Brain, because I feel like you're trying to hit Mother Brain, but all these things are shooting you. It took me a good 2 or 3 tries to finally beat Mother Brain. And in the original Metroid, that would be the end of the game. I don't know if we're treading spoiler territory here, but it is an older game, but most people are probably playing it for the first time like me, so just a clear warning about a light spoiler, but after you beat Mother Brain, there is some post-game, which I feel like was added in Zero Mission. Basically, Samus is, she's captured by space pirates, and she basically loses her power suit, so she loses all her abilities. So a lot of the meat of this extra content is kind of like a stealth game. So if you get caught by these space pirates while you're sneaking around, you're essentially dead. The only thing that Zero Suit Samus is equipped with is a stun gun, but that doesn't do any damage to the space pirates. This was probably my least favorite part of the game, is playing stealthily. And part of me is a little worried because it seems like a lot of Metroid Dread is just dodging these enemies and just playing like a stealth game and just being completely useless to them. I hope that most of the game isn't played like this, but maybe they'll pull it off. However, playing this stealthy part of the game is definitely worth it, because when Samus gets her suit back, it is so hype. You feel so strong, and it's just like, all right, you son of a guns, here it goes. I'm back, baby, and I'm ready to destroy you after all the frustration that you put me through. I'm sure that was exactly Samus's thoughts, word for word there. But that was a really hype part. Probably the most exciting part of the game is when she finally gets all of her powers back. I really enjoy the art style, that classic Game Boy Advance look, and it's got the music to boot. Classic Metroid music, very haunting, very isolating. You know, for the most part, she's like the only humanoid on this planet, Zebus. So the music itself is just very haunting and spooky and perfect for October, if you ask me. I said a little earlier, it was a shorter game, and when you do finally beat the game, it'll tell you your stats, and it said that it took me 3 hours and 23 minutes to beat this game for the first time without looking anything up. So I imagine a speed run would take, less than an hour if someone really knew what they were doing. It also said that I had only 60% of the things unlocked, so you could potentially go back and go for a 100% run. And you know what? That's kind of what I did, because just to kind of give you an inside peek of this, my whole YouTube process here, there's no way to capture footage on a Game Boy Advance aside from pointing a camera to it or using my Game Boy Advance player that I finally got up and running. So I actually just sat down while I was on the go, and I had played through the majority of this game before I realized that I was almost done. And in my head, I'm just like, oh shoot, I needed to record footage for this game for my casual review. And so I got a little bit of the ending here. I won't show the main boss, but I felt like that wasn't enough content time recording for this casual review. So I ended up going and starting a whole new game while I was recording. That's probably most of the footage that you're watching right now. And part of me just was like, I could just totally play this game again. Like, I am just having such a great time. I hardly ever start a game again right after I beat it, but this game is short enough, it's bite-sized, and it's exciting enough that I totally could have done it. I found myself just getting completely involved with what was going on in the game rather than just feeling like I had already just done this. So I don't know, there's just something about this game that makes it so engaging and fun and exciting to get all those upgrades. It's surprising too, because having gone from the end game content to going back and starting completely fresh, I was surprised to see just how much I had unlocked through the course of the game and how weak Samus is at the beginning. Like, for instance, her little P shooter, her B button, just how weak it is and how short of a length it goes before it diminishes compared to what it is at the end. It's just awesome to see that progression within Samus's power suit as you play the game. I had to pull myself away though, because I'm like, no, you gotta hop to Metroid Samus Returns. We still have 3 more Metroid games before Metroid Dread, and we gotta hurry because this game is coming out in just a couple of weeks. So I am just so excited that I get to play through all of these Metroid games, because I had such a blast playing through this one, and I know I'll have a blast playing through Samus Returns. When you do finally beat this game, there are even a couple of cool upgrades. Probably one of the coolest upgrades I've ever seen. You unlock a gallery of Metroid art, which is always nice, and then you unlock the original Metroid. Like, how cool is that? I don't know why anyone is buying the Game Boy Advance cartridge of the original Metroid when you could just play it through Zero Mission. Like, it just gives you a whole new game. Obviously, like, they do play pretty similar because Zero Mission is a remake, but how many remakes offer you the original version after you beat the game? That is awesome. If you can't tell, I am totally high on Metroid Zero Mission right now. I've heard it often said as the best 2D Metroid game, and while I cannot say that for sure, I know I had an absolute blast, and I would be remiss to give this game a score of anything else but a 5 out of 5. Yes, it is that good. If you can get your hands on a reproduction car or an emulation, or if you do want to dust off the old Wii U and download it legally, you do have that option. However, I feel like if you want to play it on the go, your hands are kind of tied at this point. So next up is Metroid Samus Returns. Please look forward to it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about Metroid Zero Mission or the Metroid series in general. Are you doing the same thing that I'm doing and playing through the first 4 Metroid games just in preparation? Let me know your experiences. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'll talk to you later. Bye!